Co-conspirators in hate. That's the focus of tonight's angle. Of the many disturbing aspects of this week's events is the fact that Charlie's suspected assassin, Tyler Robinson, didn't act alone. He had help, or at least inspiration.
Let me ask you tonight, do you think Donald Trump is a fascist?
Yes, I do.
Try to prevent the spread of the lawlessness and the fascist chaos that's been unleashed against us.
So when we say Donald Trump is a fascist, fascism, a huge component of fascism is uniting racism, bigotry, a form of racist nationalism.
No one has ever been more dangerous to this country than Donald Trump, and he is a fascist to his core.
Now, the FBI, of course, as we just talked about, revealed that the bullet casings found near the weapon included an anti-fascist message. Now, it's not a leap to believe, as I've said many, many times on this show, that those words, MAGA Republicans are fascists, they're dangerous, repeatedly and endlessly uttered by prominent individuals, can come across like an order, or at least like an exhortation to act. And Joe Biden, he may be a doddering old fool, but his speech 3 years ago at Independence Hall helped light the fuse.
Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans represent an extremism that threatens the very foundations of our republic. That the Republican Party today is dominated, driven, and intimidated by Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans. And that is a threat to this country.
Afterward, the angle tried to warn everyone. They sent poor Biden out to do his angry man routine. Democrats are the ones doing the real damage to America. Theirs is a relentless assault on our bedrock principles, on the idea of a politically blind justice system, on our national sovereignty, on parental rights and education, on our right to free speech. This period of intimidation, recriminations, threats, having the military stand behind Biden like that, this isn't going to end unless we end it, unless they are defeated politically. Now, Charlie understood this better than most because he willingly, frequently, boldly put himself out there. And he went toe-to-toe with liberals, with leftists, with anarchists, atheists. And he gave them their chances to debate him, but they never won. And they still haven't won. He and I discussed possible fallout from the left's violent rhetoric many times on the show, including in this appearance.
They're trying to provoke, I think, conservatives and Republicans to do something that we shouldn't do and that's uncharacteristic. We have to remember, we have to stay peaceful because their language that Democrats are using seems to almost try to get Republicans and get grassroots activists just to say, I'm mad as heck and I'm not going to take it any longer. You're starting to see the Democrats really act as if it's the last gasp of a dying regime. We have to remember that the more that we focus on these issues, the more we organize, the more they're going to be threatened, and their language, I'm afraid, is only going to get more outrageous.
It's hard to even watch that now. In their laboratories of radicalism and hatred, leftists mix the lethal toxin that triggered this. Now, in the month before the Butler assassination attempt, Joe Biden planted the seed in the public consciousness that a threat needed to be neutralized. Called it a genuine threat to our freedom, the greatest threat to democracy. That was Donald Trump. Now, the obvious inference is this is such a grave danger that it needs to be stopped by any means necessary. That's how Thomas Crooks and Ryan Routh saw the situation. Of course, for years, Democrats, though, have refused to confront the lethal toxin they were brewing. And instead, it was just this.
Violence doesn't come from Democrats, just to be clear. It is MAGA. It's specifically MAGA faction.
The greatest terrorist acts we've seen since 9/11 are not from foreign terrorists. They're from homegrown right-wing extremist groups.
The Republican Party has enhanced and embraced and encouraged violence, especially under the extreme MAGA cult of Donald Trump.
More dehumanizing language, more lies, zero self-reflection. Now, they might wonder why a new YouGov poll found that almost 2.5 times more Democrats than Republicans then believe violence can sometimes be justified to achieve political goals. 14% of Democrats, only 6% of Republicans. That same YouGov survey found that Democrats, by a 2-to-1 margin, believe it's always or usually acceptable to celebrate the death of someone they oppose, 11% to 6%. And of course, if you're on social media, you've seen the most heinous, vile reactions to Charlie's murder from leftists from all walks of life. And some of the most disturbing reactions, I believe they came from professors and teachers. These people shouldn't be within 100 yards of anyone wanting to learn. Take this character, Melvin Earl Valaver Jr. After Charlie was assassinated, he posted, "Today is one of the most beautiful days ever. This was such a beautiful day." Then he reacted to another comment that Charlie was an old-looking 31-year-old by saying that racism and white supremacy age you. This is just despicable. After a wave of complaints, the president of the university condemned the comments as deeply inappropriate, but the non-tenured ghoul from Clemson University has still not been fired. Look, these people, healthcare workers, this reveals more about them than it would ever reveal about anyone they were criticizing. And Senator Chris Murphy, who has just killed his presidential ambitions, was egging this all on just a few days ago before Charlie's assassination.
Our only opportunity, our only chance to save our democracy is to fight fire with fire right now. We're in a war right now to save this country, and so you have to be willing to do whatever is necessary in order to save the country.
Fight fire with fire. Do whatever is necessary. Well, we know what that means. We know what it meant to the people who carry out violence. After Butler, he knew how sad, young, confused, angry men could take that. They took it as a go command. Today, Nancy Pelosi brushed off the idea that Democrats bore any responsibility for this.
People don't have any intention of saying something that's going to lead to something dangerous, but we cannot take responsibility for the minds that are out there and how they hear it.
Last April, Charlie wrote on X about another poll that showed 48% of liberals said it would be at least somewhat justified to kill Elon Musk. Stunning. And 55% said the same about Donald Trump. None of us could believe it. Charlie decried this assassination culture, as he called it, that was infecting the leftist mindset. The left is being whipped into a violent frenzy, he wrote. Any setback, whether losing an election or losing a court case, justifies a maximally violent response. This is the natural outgrowth of left-wing protest culture, tolerating violence and mayhem for years on end. The cowardice of local prosecutors, school officials have turned the left into a ticking time bomb. Tragically, Charlie was correct. Now, it doesn't matter that his suspected killer's family was Republican or Mormon. Tyler Robinson loathed Charlie enough to kill him. And he had plenty of influential voices backing up his view that Charlie was a threat. So those individuals need to look at this picture of Erika, who was obviously in deep mourning. So Democrats, leftists, radicals, Antifa, stop deflecting, stop damaging the country, stop throwing your toxic brew around, and start changing. And that's the angle.
Fox News alert. Charlie Kirk's alleged assassin finally in custody. 22-year-old Tyler Robinson was turned into authorities late last night in Utah by his own father. Tyler's dad recognized his son as the person of interest, and when asked, he fessed up to it. Sources say Tyler actually threatened suicide, saying he'd rather kill himself, which led the dad to call up his minister, who happened to be a U.S. Marshal. Robinson later surrendered and was booked into jail. The jail, 250 miles from the crime scene. That's right. The guy made it all the way home. So how'd he do it? New video shows Robinson leaving his sniper's nest and jumping off the roof. After that, he dumped his gun in the woods and hopped in a gray Dodge Challenger and drove 4 hours home. The governor of Utah, Spencer Cox, says the family did the right thing by turning their son in. Robinson's believed to have acted alone, but he left a hefty trail of evidence. Investigators found messages that he sent to his roommate.
These photos consisted of various messages stating a need to retrieve a rifle from a drop point, leaving the rifle in a bush, messages related to visually watching the area where a rifle was left, and a message referring to having left the rifle wrapped in a towel.
We now know more about the engravings on the shell casings. Listen.
Inscriptions on a fired casing read, "Notices, bulges, capital O-W-O, what's this, question mark." Inscriptions on the 3 unfired casings read, "Hey fascist, exclamation point, catch, exclamation point." Up arrow symbol, right arrow and symbol, and 3 down arrow symbols. A second unfired casing read, "Oh Bella Chow, Bella Chow, Bella Chow, Chow Chow." And a third unfired casing read, "If you read this, you are gay, LMAO."
Bella Ciao is an anti-Nazi song from Italy. 3 down arrows is an anti-fascist symbol that's now associated with Antifa. And it's also a video game code for calling in a big bomb. Hey, fascist, catch. Well, he's calling Charlie a fascist and telling him to catch a bullet. And the bulges, OWO, is sexual role-playing slang used by furry fanatics. So who is this guy, this Robinson guy? He comes from a normal household, raised Mormon, parents are Republican. His father's in construction, and they live in a 6-bedroom home in Utah. He grew up hunting, which explains why he was a good shot. And academically, he was a straight-A student who got a college scholarship. But he dropped out of college after 1 semester, went back to live at home, and enrolled in a trade school, looking to become an electrician. A family member said he wasn't political until recently, when something snapped.
The family member referenced a recent incident in which Robinson came to dinner prior to September 10th, and in the conversation with another family member, Robinson mentioned Charlie Kirk was coming to UVU. They talked about why they didn't like him and the viewpoints that he had. The family member also stated Kirk was full of hate and spreading hate.
One of Robinson's friends spoke to The Guardian and said he was really leftist, pretty left on everything, quote unquote. They said he became an extremist, started ranting and raving. Robinson apparently spent too much time online. His shell casings had internet slang, and he dressed up as memes for Halloween. Robinson spent hours and hours alone staring at a screen. A Christian kid in a conservative household raised by a loving mom and dad in Utah, not surrounded by radical leftists, but gets radicalized into fighting fascists online.
Do you think Donald Trump is a fascist?
Yes, I do.
Fascism isn't just coming, it's already here.
This is what kicking the out of fascism looks like.
Donald Trump is a fascist.
Trump is a fascist dictator.
As a fascist dictator.
Fascist chaos.
Fascist regime. Look, are they a threat to democracy? Yes. Are they going to take our rights away? Yes. Are they going to put people's lives in danger? Yes. Are they going to endanger the planet by not dealing with climate change? Yes.
So how did America confront fascism in World War II? We went to war. And today, Democrat senators have declared war again.
We're in a war right now to save this country, and so you have to be willing to do whatever is necessary in order to save the country.
Whatever's necessary to save the country? That's a call to arms. The left is losing the battle of ideas. Violence is a last resort. They're trying to silence us, so they can't lose the argument. They tried to cancel us, censure us, and at the extreme level, they've tried to kill us. They killed Charlie, shot Trump, shot Scalise. They almost shot Kavanaugh, assassinated a healthcare CEO, cracked Rand Paul's ribs, and firebombed Teslas, and are attacking ICE facilities. And now they're trying to wash the blood off their hands.
Me disagreeing with you, me calling you, I want to be Hitler, all those things are like not necessarily saying go out and hurt somebody.
They called Trump Hitler, and then Ryan Ruth says Trump's Hitler and tries to shoot him. They don't see a connection? They call Charlie fascist, and then someone shoots Charlie with an anti-fascist bullet? They know exactly what they're doing. They're giving the crazy wing of their party permission to take a shot. They're brainwashing an online army. The message is, these men are dangerous fascists. Be a hero. Take them out. They can't win at the ballot box, so they're using bullets. Charlie said it just a few months ago. Assassination culture is spreading on the left. 55% of liberals say it would be at least somewhat justified to kill Trump. Colbert's audience was just cheering about Trump dying. Tim Walz said he was secretly hoping that he woke up to the news of the president's passing. They're on a war footing. Charlie was killed in cold blood, and a sick faction of the left are reveling in it.
Do you support his death?
I do.
You support his death?
Charlie Kirk.
You support Charlie Kirk being killed?
Yes, I do.
On the day he died, you're here at a vigil for Charlie Kirk, and you support his death.
Do you support a Nazi?
No, I don't support a Nazi. Charlie Kirk wasn't a Nazi. You support his shooter?
Yep, sure do. It's freedom.
You support Charlie Kirk's shooter?
Sure do. He did us all a favor.
Would you shoot somebody like Charlie Kirk?
I would have killed him myself.
We need to politically destroy that culture. That whole movement should be crushed the way Charlie would want it to be, on election day, in the marketplace, in the media, at universities, wherever it shows its ugly face. This anti-fascist political strain must be defeated. The militaristic mindset eradicated, and anyone profiting off of any of that in the public square should be expelled from polite society. You cannot accuse someone of hate speech to justify murder. Hate speech is just speech that liberals disagree with. America should be like the Five and agree to disagree. Violent attacks on free speech are attacks on the founding of America. And this vile movement is treasonous. Celebrating political assassinations should get you ostracized. Dowd was fired from MSNBC for saying Charlie deserved to die. And so were dozens of Americans just in the last 48 hours who worked at schools and in government, even in the NFL. This isn't cancel culture. This is society healing and getting rid of a cancer. And we love every American and forgive people who've lost their way. But we're not going to give them any quarter, not an inch. Charlie died for the First Amendment. He died on the battlefield of ideas, just like the colonists in the Revolutionary War. And if we don't defend free speech, America's defenseless and dies. We can win this battle without shedding any more blood. A great example of how to handle this, look at Utah.
I want you to look at how Utahns reacted the last two nights. There was no rioting, there was no looting, there were no cars set on fire, there was no violence. There were vigils and prayers and people coming together to share the humanity. And that, ladies and gentlemen, I believe is the answer to this.
Could you imagine if a MAGA sniper shot Biden in the head, or shot a congressman at a baseball game, or assaulted a famous liberal media personality? There'd be martial law. We'd have our rights stripped, our guns seized. Cities would burn, and America First would be behind bars. But you don't respond to an attack on freedom by taking freedom away. All of us should speak our minds louder, without fear.
What do you say to people who are saying they see the assassination attempts in your life, they see the Minnesota lawmakers, they see what happened, they see what happened to Charlie?
I say you have to go forward. You just have to go forward.
Conservatives can't be afraid to go on a college campus and exercise their First Amendment right. They just can't. We can't be afraid to say men and women are different, that we believe in sovereign borders, that fighting racist and fighting crime isn't racist. And we have to go where Charlie went, everywhere, and talk to everyone, no matter where they're from and what they look like and what they believe. We have to force them to listen to us. And we have to confront them with facts and logic and science and reason, and do it in a way that's not mean-spirited. Remember how Charlie rolled? He sat back in his chair and he smiled and he listened and debated like a real American. And he did it in person, surrounded by flesh and bone, not staring down the rabbit hole of the internet alone. That's where hatred brews.
Social media is a cancer on our society right now. And I would encourage people to log off, turn off, touch grass, hug a family member, go out and do good in your community. If this is a turning point for us, we get to make decisions. We have our agency. And I desperately call on every American, Republican, Democrat, liberal, progressive, conservative, MAGA, all of us to please, please, please follow what Charlie taught me.
This country needs a spiritual awakening. We need to go outside, hug each other, touch each other, talk to one another, and find our faith like Charlie did, get married, have families, and live honest and decent lives with purpose. This spiritual reawakening will be a turning point. Charlie was the turning point. You can feel it. You can see it happening. Prove me wrong.
I'm open to Hannity this Friday night. Now, moments ago, we saw perhaps one of the most profound, deep, impactful, meaningful speeches I've ever seen in my life. So impactful, we are going to do something that you rarely see in television. We are going to re-air this in its entirety in the course of this show pretty soon, as a matter of fact. We're now at a tipping point for the country. What Erika Kirk, Charlie Kirk's widow, did tonight is invite everyone in this country to keep his movement alive, and pledged everybody to do so with love, passion, purpose, and faith, the principles that made this country great. She vowed to keep his legacy. It was poised, it was elegant, it was gracious, full of grace, courage, strength. We're going to have full coverage. We're going to replay it and get reaction. I think it's something you should share with all your friends, your neighbors, your family, your liberal friends. Doesn't matter what political part, where they lie on the political spectrum. We'll get reaction with Clay Travis, Riley Gaines, Jason Chaffetz, LJ. Lawrence Jones will be here, and others, Stephen Miller, to react to this speech. We had planned a very different show tonight. She thanked everyone. President Trump, who said Charlie loved President Trump. J.D. Vance for all that he has done for Charlie and this family. All the law enforcement, all the hard work that has gone into finding the accused assassin, Turning Point employees, then went into this important and powerful message.
Our world is filled with evil, but our God, you guys, our God is so good. He's so incredibly good. And we know that for those who love God, all things work together for good, for those who are called according to his purpose. Already I have seen the worldwide outpouring of love for my husband. I've heard the testimonies from people my husband inspired to get married, to start families, to seek out a relationship with God. It's the most important one of all. The evildoers responsible for my husband's assassination have no idea what they have done. They killed Charlie because he preached a message of patriotism, faith, and of God's merciful love. But they should all know this. If you thought that my husband's mission was powerful before, you have no idea. You have no idea what you just have unleashed across this entire country and this world. You have no idea. You have no idea the fire that you have ignited within this wife. The cries of this widow will echo around the world like a battle cry. To everyone listening tonight across America, the movement my husband built will not die. It won't. I refuse to let that happen. It will not die. All of us will refuse to let that happen. No one will ever forget my husband's name, and I will make sure of it. It will become stronger, bolder, louder, and greater than ever. My husband's mission will not end, not even for a moment.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.